Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Dropping Down from the Rafters podcast here on Toned In Entertainment. Tonight, my guest, man, it's been a heck of a couple days, maybe a heck of a couple years since we've known each other. It's been quite the roller coaster, but my guest here tonight on the podcast, he is your new one fall wrestling heavyweight champion. This is your big Brody Booker. How you doing, Brady?
You know, Tony, as well as you do in backstage, brother. I mean, we got to get you more in ring because that is just too natural, man. I'm doing great after something like that. No, yeah, it has been a while. When did we first do our first interview? In Miami, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna think it was in Miami at CCW in Hialeah. It was hot as heck down there.
Yep.
I gotta say had to be 2022. I'm guessing it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, I think that was within the first 6 months of me getting down to the factory. Okay. I was wearing jeans and playing heel, man. We were still figuring out who we were.
Yeah, you were down there with Luke Sampson that night, tag team, and I think it gets a crown that night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, crown was Kissimmee.
Okay.
I couldn't remember if it was them or if it was Ozzy and little Skits.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't remember though, Brody. You know what I mean? Like it all blends together.
Right. Yeah. I think it was a 8-man tag. I don't know. It was something.
Yeah. A million people just in there trying to figure it out. You know. But yeah, no, it's been a long journey from that day to now, huh?
Absolutely. Well, Joe Wright, he was sitting here waiting for you. He said, "Where are you at, Brody? He is here."
Well, listen, Joe, I need to work on my professionality. You know, you got yourself a tie and a suit there. I don't think I fit in any of my suits right now. We haven't gotten fitted for one of those guys in a minute. We more rock the Brody tank tops, maybe the sleeveless hoodies. Oh yeah, no, yeah. Technology, boys. Technology is not part of the strong suit. You know, I do have half a brain. I was pre-law, but you know, that was a lot of writing and reading. There was not much technology you had to go down to it. I had to go to 3 different platforms. I had to read. Tough stuff, guys.
Oh, let's get to that. Well, yeah, Mosh Pit Messiah says, you know, the people demand the champ. Lexus is saying, hey, Brody. Cherry Bomb says, love you, Brody. And Joe Wright says, I was in Texas when he wrestled during All In Week. Why did they have him wrestle as a heel? Why did they have you wrestle as a heel, Brady?
Well, you know, it's first of all, it's a dark match. So I guess what's presented that night doesn't mean it's going to stick. But I just like to be able to show everybody that I can work all facets of the game, you know, whether it be babyface or heel. I'm going to entice a reaction, you know. But yeah, that was a great match. I was working Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal could work a broom and put on an absolute spectacle, as you saw him with Adam Priest, who's one hell of a wrestler himself. That was a great learning moment for me, and to be able to do it as a heel, you know, I'm helping work with Jay and put spots together in a match. I mean, I'm learning new ways to do stuff. Jay even gave me the cutoff. So for the people who saw the cutoff, that might be one of my favorite spots ever. I've never felt so much heat in my life. But yeah, no, it was a blast to be able to work with Jay Satnam, who was even in on it. It's a great experience every time I get in the ring at AEW.
Yeah, I was going to say, because when you go to Texas, it's a little easier to be a heel. But if you try to do that here in Atlanta, I don't think it's going to work, Brady.
I like to think that if we were up at one of these 1FW shows and I started to act a little wild, I might be able to, you know, kick someone in the face, and the Brodies are still going to get behind me. You know,
as long
as the Brodies are there, man, I'm going to keep doing the right thing for the Brodies. You know, you can't set a bad example, because if the Brodies are running wild, I mean, then we've got maybe a war on our hands.
Yeah, one of the examples I have is when I was in Fort Lauderdale during an AEW Dynamite show, and they brought Cha Cha Charlie out, of course, from CCW, and he was supposed to be a heel that night going against Dustin, but you're in South Florida. Like, yeah. It's a similar thing. Like, it just, Cha-Cha, you know, he's going to get that big ovation no matter what, and you're going to get that big ovation in your local town. So I think for being in Texas, it works, you know, let the people find out who Brady Booker is. But nah, you do that in Atlanta, it's going to be the Brodies all night long.
And when they did come to Atlanta, I was lucky enough to work as a babyface and was able to put on a great match. We had a tag, and then we also had a singles with Elijah Drago himself. Elijah Drago, now that I guess I bring him up, I just want to say one hell of a professional, one hell of a worker, one hell of a friend. We've gone to war, whether it be in an 1800 schoolhouse in front of 50 people and now center stage in front of, I don't know, 450, 550 people, whatever it was. Me, I'm bad at math, guys. I basically got kicked out of school, the first time around. No, hey, got 3 degrees. But I just want to thank him for just, being there, taking care of me as I take care of him and putting on one hell of a show, putting the business first. And we've learned from some pretty great dudes, QT Marshall and Billy Gunn, that were able to know what to do in those situations. But yeah, no, I've had a blast with him. There was this one show in the middle of nowhere, Alabama. It was in an 1800 schoolhouse and probably in front of 60 people, but they had some little Brodies. The people got excited, and it was fun to put on. And every time we get in a ring, we do have a good time.
Well, Lexus is congratulating you on the win, and I do want to get to that cage match since it is pretty fresh on all of our minds. What were the nerves going into a match like that? Was this your first cage match, Brady?
First cage match of my career. I've seen some cage matches go down. I've seen some cage matches get put together. Definitely got help from the guys like QT Marshall and Billy Gunn. But, Eli and I have wrestled a ton, and we had a story we wanted to tell over those few months that we put it together. And it was a blast. It was a lot different than my usual, go out there, have a good time, feel good, all fun and games, Brody, until I'm not. From the jump, we're intense, we're ready to go, and we're ready to kick some butt, Brodies. And I felt that's what we showed. And by the end of the match, I felt like the crowd felt the story we were trying to tell and that they were there for us. And it was a blast. I mean, hell, first time bleeding in a ring like that. That steel cage ain't no joke, brother.
I was going to say, for everybody that saw the interview that I recently posted with Brady that came out yesterday, the post-match interview, you were very cleaned up from when I first saw you walk to the back. Brady, for those that obviously couldn't tell or weren't there, you were a bloody mess when you first came back there. And I'm like, hey, Brady, I'm ready for your interview. Whenever you're ready,
yeah.
You're like, yeah, give me some time, Brody. I got you. I'll be back.
Yeah. There's the cool down moment, and then there was. I was lucky enough that this was the first time that my parents got to see me wrestle in person since NXT. And that was pretty exciting for me as well. And my mom, that was their first time seeing me bleed like that. Now, mom's seen me bleed in sports and this, that, and the other thing. But, in a steel cage match, she's never seen me go head first trying to cut a guy in half and then eat the cage. So, and the way my face looked, it wasn't the average bloody nose or the cut on the head. So, lucky enough to leave there, feeling great with the win and body feeling good. But it was one hell of a trip. And I had to get that blood off before my mom, lost her head and went after Eli, because I don't think he would survive that one,
No, not at all. He can survive Brady, but he ain't going to survive Mom. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's a soul on earth who could.
Right. Matt has a question kind of to follow up with the NXT, but I do want to get to one more question because it was my first, and thank you for, wanting me to be in the ring more and doing stuff, because I absolutely had an amazing time this past Friday as well too. And for my 15 seconds in there, I was riding a rush for 36 hours. My wife can testify to that. How long does it take you to come down from a high like that? Because you were in the ring, the adrenaline's running, you are winning the championship in the main event at center stage where WCW used to tape at. You've got all the crowd cheering. I know you had to go to CCW the following night, so maybe that helped a little bit, that you had another match the following night. But what was the adrenaline rush like for that time period?
It was the excitement of a culmination of so much hard work that had finally come together, and it's only the beginning. I realized that this moment of success is not my end all be all. This is just this is the start of the journey. The journey started when I came down here, and then I got to meet you in Miami, and then you finally came over to join us, and now we got something great going on. But I jumped into this by Googling it. I was a fan, I watched Monday Night Football and Monday Night Raw. I bonded over it with my brother and my dad, so that's how it got sentimental to me. I've always been about physicality and getting wild, Brody. I can promise you that. You can check the film, but I didn't really know how it all worked, and thank God I ran into a guy like QT Marshall who introduced me to a guy like Billy Gunn, and then I met a guy like Elijah Drago, and right from there, I mean, those key people helped shape who I am as a wrestler today and my mentality and professionality going into it, and I couldn't be more thankful for the things that I was taught and worked through with. And everyone else who's been at the factory, you know, from guys like Adam Priest to guys like Jay Lethal helping out at TV or getting the match with me or, you know, being at different shows, telling you how things go. It was just a culmination of all that stuff kind of coming together and feeling good about where I am in my life, you know, that I made the right decisions leaving football, coming to do this and that, you know, foot in the right direction, but there's still a lot of work to be done. So, yeah, I guess to kind of get around the bend there. The high is absurd. That's why we do this. I get wild so that the Brodies get wild with me. I mean, if I don't have the Brodies to get wild with, I'm just a psychopath yelling in the middle of a ring, right? I mean, it's an electric feeling, and it keeps you doing it. It makes the bumps and bruises hurt a lot less. It gives people self-worth. You know, because you go out there, you work so hard, you're so passionate about something. To see people be just as passionate, just as fired up for you and for the work you're putting on. I mean, as I'm sitting here talking to you, I could pull the rock and show you my forearm because I got goosebumps, Brody.
Yeah, and the passion is real, Brady. I mean, a little like behind the scenes. It's just like, you know, we talk before the shows now all the time and after the shows. And man, you are probably one of the most focused people I've had the chance, you know, I've taken on a different role in the past 6 months than what I was doing beforehand. And I get to see a little bit more, but like the fire that comes through you, like, and you're always asking me, how was my match? How did it go? You know, what can I do better? You know, you always want to get better. You know, so this journey definitely it's just getting started there, Brady.
And that's it, you know, whether it be a curse or a blessing, I was able to start at the highest level. I took my first bumps at NXT. I got to be around, you know, top-notch professional wrestlers. And now working at AEW, I see those top-notch professional wrestlers. I've been able, since the start of my career, to see the cream of the crop, the people who get it, the people who have been in the business, who have learned from all the people before them. And I understand how much there is to go. And I feel like I'm thankful that I got to be in those aspects and in those worlds, because without being able to see who truly are the best in the world, you never can really, you know, judge yourself. So that's why I always, you know, I want your opinion. I want the guy sitting on the side of the street who knows nothing about wrestling's opinion, just because a fan's opinion, a different look there's always something you can work on. There's always something you can do to be better. And just like when I played ball, just like when I did anything, you know, I want to be the best. And if I'm going to work my tail off like I do, because I don't know any other way than going 110% and conquering that adversity, I'm going to want results. So yeah. And I owe it to my coaches. Like I said, there's so many people who have been good to me and so many people who have helped me along the way that why would I do this half-assed? Why would I want to go out there and only be good enough? I want to be as good as I possibly can be, not only for myself, for my family, for my friends, and all those who have helped me, you know, to get to this point. So just very thankful for that. And that's kind of what drives me and wakes me up every day, is that, you know, not only do I count on myself, but there's people who count on me. As little Velma in her tap shoes, she's walking around, my little pup, you know, she's got to be fed every day too. And I'd like Velma to have an air-conditioned little doggy home. So we got a lot of work to do, Brody.
Okay, well, you mentioned NXT, and Matthew won NXT, so I'll bring up a picture for some context of you here in NXT from, I believe this is 2021, 22 it was.
Yep.
Let me bring up Matthew's question here. He said, Brady, question, during the NXT run, how hard was it to keep a straight face and not laugh with Andre Chase and Thea Hell?
That picture that you sent, that was from the NXT UK trip. We took a 10-day trip into the UK, and basically we got to film and see the sights of the UK and then pro wrestle at the BT Sports Center I had Shaw Samuels, who's been a pro for damn near as many years as Chase has. I mean, he could teach seminars, and had a great match with him when I was greener than a tree frog. Thank God he was there to, you know, help walk me through it. But being with those guys every day, from Chase and then when Thea got in, and now to see what they're doing, I mean, congratulations to them. But like, we didn't have to fake it. We didn't have to put on a character face. Like we all kind of just got together and then we shot the bit. We didn't have to say, hey, I'm going to react like this and then you react like this. Like Brody, we were just out there having fun. Like I truly felt that it was a big Brody little sister relationship between me and Thea from the times we were on screen to the time, sitting backstage talking about our matches or sitting backstage talking about life. And then with Andre Chase, there was like a big brother aspect to fatherly aspect to him. I wouldn't say fatherly just because he ain't that old, dog.
Right.
He still looks good, but a teacher. He was teaching a lot, and a guy who's been there before. He could only teach me so much because I could only understand so much for as little as I knew about the whole business. Some of that stuff it's just got to be taught to you by people who have been there, like the Billy Gunns and the QT Marshalls, who are up in the higher echelons of no wherewithal of all wrestling, so lucky enough I've got to learn from them. But yeah, no, the stuff I learned from Chase and the way he just made me feel, the way he made me feel comfortable, the way, man, we'd walk back from matches. I wouldn't know if it was good, bad, or indifferent. The crowd was always hot. They were always having a good time. So I would just look at Chase and I'd be like, hey, did we do a good job? And he would go, did you have fun? Was the crowd loud? Then we were good. So, I mean, that was kind of my basis of wondering what was good wrestling at the beginning. So that's also what kind of drives me too, is just there's always that little feeling of, oh, I guess I was not good enough to get released. Just like kind of everything in my life with going junior college, with being told I don't think you could do it or you're not good enough. Okay, Brody, watch me, because, Brody himself is fired up all the time, but you tell him he can't do something. You stick a stake in the ground and say where the line is. Oh, brother, I'm going to run you so far past that thing, you're going to puke. But hey, that's why I love to do this, because there's always another match. There's always another opportunity to get better, to prove somebody wrong, to show your worth. And hell, dude, I could be wearing a suit and have a comb over and be a lawyer, but I get to body slam people, shake my shoulders, and ask the Brodies what's up, in the middle of a ring. So I'm very lucky.
Speaking of wearing a suit, I think Joe Wright just revealed his secret identity, because he says he's actually the doppelstinger, the Sting cosplay guy. So I'm not always in a suit. Joe, what are you doing? Don't release your secret identity there.
I worry about him for doxing himself on the live stream here now that he's the Sting guy. But I have to say, Joe, whether you are or aren't the Sting guy, because I'm still letting you kind of save yourself here. We don't know what we're typing sometimes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the internet's forever. We could just call it a whoopsies. But the Sting guy, every time I've seen him in the AEW crowd, and I've been lucky enough to work a dark match at AEW, man, is he fired up and is he getting down with whatever way he's got to get down for the match. And that was another thing I want to say about the AEW crowd, is that, when I do come out for those dark matches, when I talk about reactions and proving myself to the guys sitting upstairs and wearing the suits and making the decisions, I thank them, because every time we go out there, we're early. They'd probably still pop for a body slam there, but they get excited with us and they have fun, and they're all about having fun and enjoying wrestling at AEW. So, I mean, shout out to that crowd, because I mean, shoot, I could go out there and if they didn't make any sound, I may not have a job anymore, dog.
Yeah.
I may be back in a suit or maybe even a polo,
Right?
knocking door to door.
Cherry Bomb says, face or heel, we are here for Brady. So, the Brodies are all about it. And Lexa says, you are amazing and my favorite wrestler. And so you're her favorite wrestler there, Brady.
I appreciate that. And right now I'm really enjoying being a good guy, but I will always do what I'm told. So, whatever it comes to the job, realistically, I feel like I could do both, but I am really enjoying just getting down with the Brodies. I don't want to hate on the Brodies. I don't think they want to hate on me.
No. Joe also says that you are absolutely one of the best crowd workers I've seen, and he's been watching wrestling since the late 70s. And Cherry Bomb says your energy is insane.
Well, those two things, first of all, saying that I'm one of the greatest crowd workers, I mean, that's a little quick, man, because there's a lot of names that we could rattle off since the 70s. But I do appreciate that, man, because I take a lot of pride in, and that's what we're working for, is to get the crowd to react. And I'm going to do my best to do that through personality or through moves or through bodily action, bodily language, who knows. And the energy is something that I've just always had. My pops, he's a steak and potatoes 1950s Hall of Fame coach from Northern Illinois, small town Northern Illinois. So I was raised that way, and it was always pedal to the metal. balls to the wall, man, and working your butt off to be the best, and having a sense of being a good moral person, but having that switch to flip, like when it's time to cut somebody in half with intensity and to get the job done.
I was going to say, but it has to come natural to have this connection with the fans, though, Brady, because, I've seen you win matches, you main event most of the nights at One Fall, and then especially at places like McDonough, the ring is filled up with like all the little Brodies in there dancing around. Like they're just not going to do it just because a good guy won the match. They have to have a connection with you, and you just have a natural connection with fans of all ages, let's just say.
Yeah. I've always kind of felt that, and I've been lucky enough to kind of experience that. I've never really felt nervous to like express myself out there. I've always felt kind of at home, because even when I was wrestling with Chase, there were times, man, I'm sorry, I guess it's over, but there were times I had no idea what I was doing, brother. And I had to look back at him and I was like, hey, what are we doing? And he's just like, man, you got the biggest smile on your face. You're moving around. The people are feeding off that energy. And that's something that Billy really hammers down on is, people do feed off energy. So I know with all that energy that I got, they want to grab onto it too. So I just try to include everybody on my little moments. You know what I mean? I'm just lucky enough that every time I want to express or get loud in the ring, it's reciprocated with the fans and they feel it. It's probably because, that is me out there. I am just reacting, brother. I'm just having a good old time. Like it's meat grinder drill at fall camp, and we're just out there hitting, clanging and banging. And I'm at home, man. There's sometimes when I used to play ball where, dudes are getting hit left and right. People are coming out of nowhere, catching you in the ear hole. And I get goosebumps thinking about it, just thriving in chaos. Bodies, people going everywhere. You're telling me we get physical. I was always that friend that, that when we were at our buddy's house, there's 5 of us. Well, stop roughhousing. Basically, it was 4-on-1, everyone versus me, and we're in the pool, and I'm just launching people, I've just always had an act for just being in the mix, getting rowdy. I'm not saying a bully, not saying I want to beat anybody up, but hell, let's just shove each other around and kind of toss around, see where it goes. A little roughhousing. Yeah, and I think the people reciprocate that. They just feel that that is true. That is really me, and it's a blast. Thank God that they do too, because if they didn't, I don't know what I'd be doing with my life, brother.
While I was out there on Friday night waiting for the frat house and these guys to wrap up their meet and greets and stuff, I did have the privilege of talking to your parents on Friday night. They said they introduced themselves to me, and we had a little conversation about the first interview we did, and just about the interviews and stuff. And it had to be feel great to have them come to Atlanta for the first time to see you wrestle since over across the pond, as we should say.
Yep.
2, what were their thoughts then when you were in the UK, maybe when you got released, to where you are now, main eventing at center stage?
To be completely honest, I've always kind of had a plan. College and stuff like that, worked my way back to Division I. And if it didn't happen, I had these steps with JUCO, how I was going to get there, and I did it. And then with making the league and stuff like that, I was looking at different aspects to make it. But then when wrestling came into the picture and football wasn't in the frame where I wanted it to be, it kind of offered an avenue, and it kind of like saved me, you know what I mean? Because it was kind of like, once football was over, I guess there was always being a lawyer, but am I truly passionate about that? I can't lay somebody out in the courtroom and then shake my shoulders and go, what up, Brody's? You know what I mean? And I think I need that at least once a week.
You need that fix, right?
Yeah, man.
Bloodstream.
Yeah, no, I just need a taste. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if I can't get it there, I might just get it on the defendant sitting across from me. He better answer the question right.
Because you're guilty there, Brody.
Yeah, and then the vein starts popping out. We start to fluctuate our voice and whatnot. But no, I felt like wrestling was kind of a saving grace for me there. And the more I got into it, the more I felt like it truly fit who I am as a person. But at NXT, you're few and far in between with all the people that are there, and you can get, lost in the shuffle a little bit when it comes to learning and priority. And I may not have absorbed it as much as I could have there. So when I was let go, I was lost. I I could barely, put together a 5-minute match and work through that by myself. And I didn't know any aspect of indies or other promotions or how they worked. I was kind of lost. And thank God, I had a great coach like Steve Carino, who, I kind of fell back on at the end of it, just kind of for some advice, and asked him, looking at the Nightmare Factory, I saw the great things that they talked about it. Was able to work a couple of dark matches for AEW Dark, and then realized that, QT, who was there, has the Nightmare Factory and all the people who have come from it. I thought to myself, well, we got to figure it out. Got in contact with QT, and he let me know, like, yeah, you can come by, and if you want to move down here and start training, feel free. That's what I did. And from that day on, it changed my life. I truly became a pro wrestler. I truly found out that this passion is who I am and what I'm going to do. Now we're still figuring out when and where that's all going to be, but I met Billy Gunn. I met Elijah. We talked about this earlier, but like, it was a complete 360 from feeling lost to not knowing what I'm going to do with the rest of my life, to feeling like a failure, to, oh my God, this guy just taught me how to wrestle and told me to be myself. And now I'm on a trajectory that could really leave my future, unforeseeable, whether it be fantastic or almost, but like I'm in such a great position now. And I know so much now that I truly am thankful. I'm truly thankful that I was released at that time. I'm truly thankful that I'm able to do all these things. I needed to get away. I had to meet QT and I had to meet Billy, and thank God I did, because they took somebody with absolutely zero reason why. Sure, he's got potential. Sure, he's a personality or whatnot, but why are they going to give me the secrets? I kind of think of it as like a secret formula. Wrestling is something you can only explain if you've been there, and only few guys have really been at the pinnacle, like a Billy Gunn, like QT, who Godfather Cody Rhodes' daughter, the type of conversations you can imagine that they have about wrestling, who's working right hand at Tony Khan, who owns a wrestling company. It's just, who's put together shows from the first All In to now. I am just thankful and happy to be a part of that group. And I try to absorb as much knowledge as I can and put it into my work. And that's why I feel like I'm in the position that I am today. All I had to do was pay attention, listen to what I was told, and then go out there and execute, kind of like practice to playing on a Saturday. So I'm just thankful for my coaches in that aspect, because it was just preparation with my coaches through that. And then they just allowed me to be myself and go out there and perform. There is one thing I have to say, the get 'em chopping, which has become such a staple in Brody's in-ring work. You could almost call it his signature.
Yeah,
I did.
That's fair.
I did do that at NXT, and I did it, 3 times, 2 on a level up, 1 in the Dusty Cup or something like that. And after I got done doing it, and I felt there was great reaction there. I was told it was too hokey and it was cut from me. Well, then when I came down to the Nightmare Factory, I started running my comeback and whatever, everything that I kind of ran from NXT, and I never did the get 'em choppins because it was hokey. Well, I'd been practicing for about a month and a half, 2 months, and I think, I didn't know if I stood out or anything. Well, I broke out the get 'em choppins, and Billy Gunn, quote unquote, tells me, that right there, you keep. Everything else, cut that shit out. And from that point on, Brody was born. You know what I mean? And it was just that little bit, the little bits that, QT looks at me and tells me I can do something, or Billy looks at me and tells me, like, hey, that's it, or you got it. Those little bits of confidence that they instill in me, they mean eons, because when I used to play football, I came from or baseball or basketball, I was all state, and I always had confidence in my ability and confidence in what I was doing, because I'd done those things for so long. And when you come into a subjective world wrestling where everybody tells you you're doing it wrong, or everybody tells you you're doing it right, and you don't even know if they're telling the truth, it's hard to be confident in your work. And once I met guys like that, and they would instill that confidence in me, it's felt like they strapped a rocket to my back, and I truly go out there and I'm comfortable, and anything that happens can happen, because guess what? I'm going to have the right reaction. I'm going to do the right thing for it. And we're going to progressively get through the match to put on a good show for people.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm going to bring up this picture real quick too. This is from back in the NXT days. It says, sacrifice today and enjoy the benefits tomorrow. And I feel like a lot of that quote there is kind of like what you really just touched on right now is bad things happen to us, or we think they're bad things that happen to us, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
like I'm a big believer in that there is a plan for us, and like we're supposed to be on a certain trajectory, and we can't figure out like why is this happening to me? But then those not so necessarily fun things or bad things like getting released happen. And it puts you in the place where you're supposed to be, where you're thriving, and where you're on that trajectory right now to take it to the next level. So I just feel like it really was a plan for you to learn something and to be with the trainers and the coaches and the locker room, because that locker room is amazing that you have as well too back there. Like it's just, I feel like everything is coming into place for you, Brady.
Yeah, I mean, like I couldn't be more lucky. And being at AEW and seeing how much higher the professionality gets and how much more wrestling that can be done and stuff like that, like there's just so much to learn from right now. And you're completely right. Like, and I always worry that if I didn't start at such a high pinnacle, I maybe didn't know how to get there, you know, or how to really be a professional. I mean, just thinking back of starting on the indies and stuff like that, there's so many people who are vulnerable to learning from people who really haven't done anything, you know what I mean? Or who really don't know what they're talking about. So that's why you really got to take it seriously about who you learn from and what you do, because I mean, it dictates your entire trajectory in this business.
I'm going to get to one statement here from Lexus first. She says, nice job for being up, Elijah, and I'm supporting you all the way, and I'm always a big fan. And I know that because I see a lot of her comments on my videos, too, so she is a truthfully big fan there, Brady.
I you know what? As much as I love Elijah, I love kicking his ass even more. The only problem is that big bastard just keeps coming back.
He does. Well, he doesn't know when to say no, you know.
He's like the Ukrainian Terminator, brother.
He is. He is a real life action figure too. When you look at him, it's crazy to see. I mean, even when I met him the first time, he was down in CCW. He was wrestling QT the first time I interviewed him, and I was like, I looked at this guy 2 years ago, and I'm like, oh my god. Now, and just every night I see him on a Friday, I'm like he's unreal. Like he really is a big old action figure out there.
So we lift as a group, me, Billy, and Eli, every day of the week. And I mean, I'm the biggest guy in our gym and the smallest guy in our group. Yeah, I got Eli to the left of me doing horse weight, and then I got Billy over here who looks like a horse. I mean, there's no beating these two. So no, every day I get third place, I get last, and I get crushed. But I do my best. And that's why I'm so thankful for a guy like him, for not only in the ring, but hell, I got him pushing me outside the ring. I'm trying to push weights. And he even tells me those little bodybuilding secrets. You know, I grew up training as an athlete. I kind of just know bust your ass, lift till it hurts. And he's kind of toned me in on a couple of secrets, the tricks of the trade about how to, you know, less strain on the joints and take care of your body more. I mean, Elijah is quite the intellectual one, let me tell you. I didn't know that they had that many books over in the Ukraine. I didn't mean it, but you know.
Well, speaking of books, and a great segue here because Matthew Rodriguez has a question. He says, Brady, I know you're only 3 years into wrestling, but since 2021 to 2022, but will you be interested in doing a book memoir on your NXT run and Mr. Chase and Thea? I think that would be a great read. Do we agree?
You know, I wish that we had more time to do something like that. Writing a book, I mean, hell, man, I can barely write out a paragraph in a text message. You know what I mean? Then we're getting to voice memos. But yeah, no, I already messed up the technology coming into this. That would be a great idea. I don't know if I have the financial backing to print my own book. Maybe ask Mr. Chase. You know, he's been being a great professional wrestler, head of a school. I mean, he got himself into a little bit of money troubles, I heard, but he got out of them. So maybe he can get that book going. But I'll tell you this. I mean, those are two people who will always be in the business of wrestling. They'll always be professionals of wrestling as long as they want to be. You know what I mean? So I had a great time with them. I still talk to them here and there now. I mean, I wish them nothing but the best.
Okay, I'm going to get to Joe's comment next, but I'm going to bring up the flyer here because it is one of the things I was going to bring up, because next Thursday at One Fall Wrestling, there's a TV taping, and Joe says that he'll be at the August 7th TV taping as Doppel Sting. So excited about your TV recording. And I know that you guys just filmed a bunch of like promo stuff, which we saw some of that at Center Stage this Friday, but TV tapings, I mean, it's crazy, right, Brady?
It's huge, but unfortunately, I'm not surprised. I've been able to get to know QT Marshall himself, and when he does something, he does it all out, and he does it 100% professional to the real, like TV, like the stuff that everybody wants to do that'll prepare you for stuff like that. QT is all about getting quality reps in. So this just adds to those quality reps for guys who have aspirations, and then it gives other guys an opportunity to showcase their talents in that type of scenario to maybe get those type of reps. I mean, it's just QT, man, from TCW when we had our little pilot with that, to from the screen that we got to the draping, to the way the ring looks, everything we do, QT makes us more professional, more TV company oriented, more everything like that. And I mean, maybe people don't see it now backstage, but just knowing coming from TV company, doing stuff like that, like when we shot the footage for those entrance videos and stuff like that, that was just like a Saturday shoot, for TV. So it's really cool to give people the opportunity to get these type of reps in. And yeah, I mean, QT's just the coolest guy ever, taking care of his roster. People don't understand how lucky they are to even be involved with a guy like him, because he sets us up to succeed. It's kind of up to you. Take the coaching. He gives us the coaching. He gives us the platform. Now just go do you. And that's what I'm so thankful for, thinking about, even the cage match, although we'll ask, but he'll always give us some pointers here and there, but he wants us to go out there, do our thing, prove that you belong there, take the coaching. He's helped you up to this point, and he just really gives that sense of confidence, sense of, you've been there before, you're fine. And I don't know what else you can ask in a coach for him to prepare you for everything and then give you the confidence to go out there and do it.
The sexiest man alive, Eddie Valentine, is in here, the CCW heavyweight champion, and he says that your match with Cantina was fire there, Brady.
Yeah, Anthony Cantina is a stud of a kid, a little bit of a character out there, but I'm a character myself, and when you get two big characters out there who have an idea about how they want to wrestle, you can put on a little bit of a fun show, and that's what we did. There was even some stuff in there that wasn't planned, that we were just out there reading and reacting, and people were popping. I had a great time with him, and I look forward to the next match because we did have ourselves a little bit of a DQ. So, I think that Anthony Cantina needs to get cut in half, brother. But that's for another day. I know that CCW comes back to Nashville August 22nd, but unfortunately, your boy's going to be at One Fall that night, August 22nd.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you about it because I think I saw you on the flyer for that show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, I think that there's going to need to be some I guess you could say dialect between the greater minds, but I'm pretty sure that I'll be at 1FW for that one, and I know Katina's going to Germany, so I don't know if there will be a payoff. I just don't know if it'll be this month or the next month after or whatnot. Hell, it could be at 1FW. Who knows?
We should have it there. I think so, right? Let's do it.
I think the 1FW roster would benefit from the addition of Anthony Katina. I do think that. Yeah.
We were bringing up TV, and then obviously this week these clips were going out there of you on King's Court, and you were on there with another guy from 1FW, JD Inc. So let's talk a little bit about the experience of being on a TV show on Bravo that's airing on Peacock now, the King's Court.
Well, Titus O'Neil squishing JD up against me in the corner there is about as close to JD as I want to get ever again in my life. So now that we've gotten that out of the way. He's got big hands, huh?
And you're no small dude, Brady.
Carlos Boozer referred to me as Thor. I guess I'll take that. Watch the Booze, play for my Bulls growing up. Hell, he was even with D Rose, Nate Robinson, all the boys. Luol Deng, come on. Joe Kim Noah, all right. But it was one hell of an experience. And to be honest, it was exciting to be able to do something like that. Although it may not be, for stardom there, we're able to be a part of something that, a great guy like Titus O'Neil's creating. Titus O'Neil has done so much for not only, going out and being wrestling, but his community. He's such a humanitarian, good person that if there's an opportunity that we get to help him, and he came in and brought Bravo into the factory, the old building, it's an opportunity for us to get our faces out there. We're thankful for it. Although we might have got our asses kicked, we're thankful to be out there and be in a ring with such a professional like Titus O'Neil that, maybe just like we're talking here, someone's talking and they see me there and then they go and look up my stuff and they go, wow, does he move better than when we last saw him?
Yes.
It's all about figuring it out, Brody,
Speaking of figuring it out, when did you figure out that Smells Like Teen Spirit would be the perfect entrance song for you, Brady?
I remember we were at Wrestling at Southern. It was a Monday night show, and that was back when we used to do it at this brewery that actually closed down. I can't even think of the name of it. Right? It might have been a South Main. I don't know, man. But anyways, we were wrestling there, and I got asked for a song. And, I got a bunch of songs on my phone and whatnot, and I kind of panicked because your Brody's bad with names. That's why he's calling everybody Brody, but he's also bad with the names of songs, dog. I can tell you the tune, I can start singing it, but man, when it comes to the name, so I panicked a little bit. I sent like a list of 5 to one of my best Brodies, Luke Palin. And he responded with Smells Like Teen Spirit. I put it in from there. And I mean, even lyrically, it almost explains what your big Brodies out there trying to do. I'm just trying to entertain the Brodies, any way possible, So it's really seemed pretty fitting. Now that I know we're using unlicensed stuff, I do have my AEW music, but if there's some way that maybe your boy can work hard enough to maybe get some type of mashup, maybe a little DDP-esque of Smells Like Teen Spirit, I would really appreciate that. If there's any Brodies out there, I am not skilled whatsoever technology. If you can kind of fester up a little something, I'll take it, brother. I'll put it on. I'll quote you with it. Come on.
Joe's asking a question, but I feel like there's only one appropriate answer for this, and he's saying any surprises for the TV taping like they had at Summer Stage when Darby showed up, but I feel like you gotta show
and listen,
the show, right?
That's the thing, Joe, is you're lucky enough that you get to be there. I'm glad you asked the question because then it allows me to say, Brody's, there's always going to be a surprise. I want you to know, although QT Marshall is the king of under-promising and over-delivering, I'll promise there's always going to be some fun surprises at One Fall. There's always going to be someone show up that you want to see or something happen that you don't want to miss. So, and I got to tell you, with where we're filming, the atmosphere being right up close, that's something you don't get. And you get a chance to be on TV. Your big Brody's going to pull one of them little Brodies out of the crowd and take a lap. I can't help myself. I need you, Brody's. So if you're there, you can get a lap. If you're not there, there's not even a chance. And who's to say I don't grab a 30-year-old man and put him on my shoulder? You know what I mean? I might get frisky. Who knows?
And to be perfectly honest, Brady, I mean, we can't even answer that, Joe, because even with us working in the backstage, we don't know a lot, and that's just being perfectly honest. That's just
it's
Bobby King showing up on Friday night was a shock to us all.
Yeah, and was it an opportunity just to share a locker room with a guy like that? It's just opportunities like that to have him around. I mean, Glacier, man, we got to share the locker room with Glacier. I get to hear not only WCW stories from Glacier when he's talking about. I mean, hell, he was even dropping stories about Hulk Hogan. He was in a movie with him. I got into the business because my dad idolized a guy like Hulk Hogan. So thankful to be able to hear stuff like that. But he even knows Brian Urlacher. I mean, so Glacier's one of the coolest people I've ever met. I wish he could be 25 for a night and we could go have some beers. Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say Glacier, and I have to give a big shout out to Glacier because I told him when I saw him on Friday night, he was my very first wrestling interview on Toned In Entertainment at a convention. He was there. Brady, I completely fanboyed out because I'm like, as a WCW hardcore guy, and I remember my wife was with me at MegaCon in Orlando, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Glacier. And I'm like, she's like, what? I'm like, and this is right before AEW is getting to start. So I asked him, like, can I do a quick interview? Of course, with my phone. It was terrible audio. We were in a convention. Yeah, and he was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be at the AEW Battle Royal, the first AEW pay-per-view. And I'm like, shoot, I think I got breaking news here. Like, Glacier's let me in. But, like, he helped me send that interview to other conventions. And I interviewed Glacier, right? Who's
Yeah.
known and popular from the WCW days. They got me in the door at other places. So I had to give him a big thank you. And yeah, I think I could have sat there and talked to him for 3 days easily.
I think that's a testament to you as well, though, Tony, with like your enthusiasm and your passion for your job. Is I think most people in that moment, you're talking about not having the equipment, having kind of some ragtag get together. Most people might have got self-conscious and showed up by the star and whatnot, and maybe not taking that opportunity. And that's one thing I love about you, Brody, is you're always ready for that opportunity. You're always ready to put it on the line. And because you got the stuff to prove it, dog. And that's the only thing I worry about. We talk about energy. There's one person on the entire 1FW roster I got to worry about competing energy with, and it's when I get in an interview with you, and it's always post-match. Like, how am I supposed to keep up, Brody?
Luckily, I've already had like 9 interviews as well, too, so we can kind of balance out.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's like, I got to, it's like, I feel like every time I come in for the interviews, like, you need to show that you're enthusiastic about the person that you're talking to, or why are you there doing it?
I couldn't be more thankful that you're a part of the team. Like when you came to that TCW and we had that little interview and you kind of told me that you were sticking around, I mean, I was almost giddy because, I mean, that was just what we were missing. We were missing someone who has personality, who has excitement, who has a passion for the business, and can help show other people how to get this stuff done. Not only are you doing it, but you're producing, you're coaching a little bit. You and Greg are in the back helping other people put their promos together. I mean, hell, that promo that we did getting ready for Summer Stage with Eli with the fire and the backdrop, that was all your idea, and that was probably the best promo I've ever done on film. So I couldn't be more thankful to have you part of the team. We are lucky to have you as part of the team, and I think the whole locker room feels the same, man.
I appreciate that. And that was one of the things I got was like, I got comments right away from that interview. We're like, that interview is like, wow, like it
was like TV. I mean, that was like when we shot at TV. You have the lights, you have the equipment. I mean, I haven't met anybody more professional than you in the game, man, and I think you're going to be in the game as long as you want to be.
I appreciate you, but I don't want to boost my own ego. We're here to boost your ego here
tonight. No, man. Hey, and that's the thing. It takes a team, Brody. It takes a team to put out what we do, and I love the team we got at 1FW, from the top down.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember messaging you when I was getting ready to move up here to Georgia last almost a year now, and I said, Brady, like, what's going on in Georgia? Like, I was asking around. Everybody was like, oh, Georgia, there's nothing going on. There's nothing going on. And I'm like, okay. And then I come up here and I'm like, okay, there's stuff going on, but people don't know about it maybe necessarily, right?
Exactly. And, I bring up QT. QT's doing such a good job at promoting things for us, pushing things for us. Scott's doing the best he can promoting it. But there's a whole avenue of stuff that, when QT's got TV and Scott's got to work his job, that how are we going to promote? We got guys passing out flyers, this, that, and the other thing. But you've been able to expand over the country, man. You got people watching from all over on this show, and it gives us an opportunity to show what we're doing. So, using social media, you kind of, like I said, I'm awful at technology. I'm glad we got a guy like you when it comes to editing, when it comes to stuff like that, like helping me with that video. It allows us to showcase our talents. And without a guy like you, people don't know guys like me. So it takes the whole crew. And when I talk about, the 1FW crew, you think back to QT and Scott and those guys, like, thank you for those guys, because they're such shoot it straight guys. They're such not beat around the bush. They're not going to tell you something and go tell someone something else. They're straightforward, and that's the best way to be professional. We're all honest with ourselves. We all keep it light, and we all just do our best to, have a great show.
Yeah. And so what is your thought process on like all these shows that are going on now? Because it feels like, I mean, it's got to feel good that like literally One Fall can run once, twice every week now and still draw like a full house of people that are invested in the wrestlers that are on the roster.
Right. I just think that's a testament to quality reps over a period of time. It's just building that equity with the fans. I remember when some of those fans were out there, when we had 20 people at, like I was saying, that other bar that closed down, when people were wearing sweatpants gear and stuff like that. I mean, there's people who have seen us at our worst and our best, but they've seen us grow over that period of time. And if you keep showing up, if you keep getting better, if you keep trying, they can feel that. And, as we've kept trying to get better, you've seen people grow because the show's gotten better. And all those, that's like I said, QT's all about quality reps. With having those shows once, twice a week, we're getting more matches than TV guys just because the amount of, we have a Monday show, sometimes a Thursday show now, Friday, Saturday. We're just very lucky. Hell, there was that Cinco de Mayo weekend where we had 5 shows in one day. You know what I mean?
You came running into one show from another show and then had to leave to go to another show. I know you wrestled at least 3 matches that night, Brady.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to do what you got to do for the promotion. But we're all just so used to getting reps from practice to now. We're all used to working each other and although QT bringing in guys like Alan Angels, bringing in guys like Lee Johnson, those guys, they're pros coming in. So then, our guys who are always working each other, we're all comfortable. We can now, try to work up to a level like those guys. Preston Vance, Griff Garrison, the whole way down, Cole Carter. Sorry if I forget anybody. The Brodies, you know how I be. But yeah, no, we're just very lucky to have that. And it's all thanks to guys like QT. Hell, and Billy. When Billy brings his boys around, man, we're lucky because not only are they good, that's one thing about Billy Gunn is like, he is, although, he's a freak of nature and all this stuff. Like, if I told you one of the most impressive things to me about Billy Gunn is the way he takes an arm drag, it's just because this 6'5", 275-pound monster who's 62 years old still can get 180 degrees vertical with his toes pointed to the hair and his head down here, taking an arm drag 10 times out of 10. And his boys are the same way, fundamentally sound, the way that they think of wrestling. So the fact that they bring all those guys around and help us train, we're just so lucky to have all this knowledge because that's all wrestling is. Like I said, it's a secret formula from guys who have been there, and you just learn from their stories, from their instances. Because when you have those reps, if you can be in every single situation in wrestling, you'll never get nervous. You'll never not know what to do because you've been there before. And as long as you've been there before, you can kind of work through it.
Yeah, speaking of Billy, you pay homage to Billy Gunn with some of the stuff that you do, the shaking in the ring. And what were his thoughts on it when you started doing it, or was it kind of his thoughts to go ahead and try it?
Billy's always given me the confidence to be myself and to push that energy, to push that intensity, to push that enthusiasm, to push the fun, to push pissed, whatever emotion we're feeling at the time. But, show it off, show how you're feeling, use your body, use your face. Sometimes I can be a little much for him, but, I get it. I'm a little much for just about everybody. But
it takes a special person to handle you all the time, Brady.
Yeah, no, hey,
you're friend, I'll tell you that.
I don't think I can handle myself, friend. I'm sitting here. I don't know if I'm working up a sweat or just getting fired up sitting here doing this.
Probably both.
Yeah, and that's the thing, dude. The heat down here in Georgia, I set my house to 66 degrees, and somehow it gets up to 73 in here, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? But that's a whole different talk for my electrical company. Billy has kind of created me wrestling wise. He's kind of helped fine tune everything. I remember when I had a Royal Rumble or whatever, and I was working guys in the corner, and this was still very early on, but I started working with Billy and whatnot. And I just tried to mimic his kicks in the corner. The ref, Earl Herbner, comes up to me and he tells me how I looked like Billy Gunn in the corner shooting kicks. And that was one of the greatest compliments I've ever received in my life. There's a couple old ladies when we're at signings together that'll come up to us and ask her for father and son because we look the same and we're both very good looking gentlemen. And those are some of the greatest compliments I can receive in my life. Daddy asked Billy Gunn if I look a smidgen like him. But the best thing about Billy is there's times I've been in the ring, especially early on, where like I'm doing something or I react a certain way. And before I tell him why I did it, he tells me why I did it. And then he tells me what to do. I've never been around somebody who just fucking gets me, man. I'm sorry to say it like that, but Billy Gunn, he's one hell of a Brody. He gets me like the back of his hand. And he's a hell of a coach, and he's a hell of dealing with people. I've watched Billy get as intense as a college football coach, but then get as somber or you could say sweet Billy Gunn as like a father with a newborn. You know what I mean? When dealing with these kids in the camp and dealing with people when he's coaching them, reading people's personalities and teaching them the best way they know how. And that's one thing Billy's done with me. Hell, he taught me I guess we haven't popped it out yet, but I guess we'll bring it up and leave it up to spectacle. But he taught me the moonsault in like 10 minutes, dude. And that's just a testament of how good he is at teaching, how athletic he is, and how he understands his people. Yeah, no, Billy is. If I could replicate, if I could have a quarter of the career Billy Gunn did, I'd be more than thankful and blessed every day to have it. So he's a guy that I can look up to for the rest of my life in this business and something to shoot for. But I'll never do it like Billy Gunn because nobody can do it like Billy Gunn. I got to give it my own little Brody flavor, So if he's shaking his ass, I'm shaking my shoulders.
Right. It's always good to be the first of something, people always may say, "Oh, I want to be the next you," or "I want to be the next." No. It's like you want to be the first Brady, but you always can pay homage to the people that got you to the dance.
Oh yeah, and I'm inspired by Billy's work every day, and I'm lucky enough to tag with him as often as I have. You know what I mean? I look back at some of those clips and those moments. I mean, those are some of the most fun times I've ever had in a ring, and none of them are planned. It's just I'm gonna react to Billy, and I know some of the things that pop him and how I react and stuff like that. And man, do we have fun! And that's something I hope maybe one day in my career that maybe we could do that, on TV. To where like that could happen. I don't know how it works. I don't know storylines, but God dang it, I would do some terrible things to have just one opportunity to have a tag match with Billy.
Well, it's definitely a possibility. Speaking of opportunities, for those who are in the Atlanta area this Friday, One Fall it's the fallout from Center Stage in Watkinsville this Friday night. They haven't announced anything that you got going on this Friday night, but I'm sure Brady Booker will be in the house and looking for any challengers that want to step up to the plate.
There won't be a One Fall show you won't catch me at now, Brody's. And unsure what I got going on, but I do know that I'll be getting in a ring and I'll be getting rowdy and defending that belt against somebody. So whoever decides to be the unlucky chosen one, I guess, they're going to see if they can get him chopping or, if they're going to get loud with the Brodies. Who knows?
Well, there's a full roster that I know has their eyes set on your title. There's a full roster that has their eyes set on Vari Morales' breakout championship. Three new champions with Isis being crowned the first women's One Fall champion as well too. So there's a lot going on here. Hey, KO Vandu is in the house. Leroy sent me here.
Hey, I'm part of the nasty team, dog. I'm so nasty, Leroy. He's the Mac Daddy. I back him. I see myself as a big personality, as a lead, but when it comes to the nasty crew and the nasty man, I'm a henchman. Catch me in the back, and I'm doing dirty stuff for Nasty Man.
I mean, Nasty just won the Battle Royal at Center Stage this week.
I think that there's going to have to be – he's got to get a shot, right? I think that he earned it. I think that he beat all those guys. I think you're going to see a Nasty Leroy versus Big Brody Book coming up here at a One Fall ring at some point in time. And listen, we are good Brodies. I love him like a brother. But, man, we're going to see if we can go out there and put on a show and maybe I can get his shoulders on the ground. Maybe he gets mine. I don't know. He's probably – after Elijah Drago, that's probably maybe my biggest test at One Fall, because Nasty Man, he's a wild card, Brody. You don't know what he's going to do.
That Battle Royal completely shocked everybody, yes.
Brother, I saw him standing there for 30 seconds like he was a sculpture. I think he was just trying to play camouflage, and they didn't really know what he was doing. They were staying away. People fear what they don't understand. And then he just went into a barrage of chops. I mean, I'm nervous just thinking about it. I'm going to be on my P's and Q's. I'm going to be watching over my shoulder because I know Nasty Man, he don't play by the rules. That's one guy I'm going to have to look out for.
Yeah, he might be the only guy also that rivals the chants as well too, because when he's out there, the people are chanting for Nasty out there.
I was in we had a 6-man. I think it was me, QT, and Nasty Man, or maybe me, Jonathan, and Nasty Man versus 3 others, and we got out of there with the win. Nasty Man got us the pin, but when I was out there, I mean, you couldn't tell if it was Brody or Team Nasty. I mean, people were bumping as long as I was on his team. It's going to be weird to stand across from him.
Yeah. KO also says that he gave Nasty a pile driver. He got up and laughed at it. Well, like Hawk from the Road Warriors, I'm guessing it was sort of like that.
Listen, Brody. I mean, you could give Nasty Man every move in the book. I don't know if it's even going to affect him. I'm going to have to find his kryptonite because he's like Superman.
Joe says, the first and only king of the Brodies. If you didn't before, well, now you know me, Brady Booker. And Lexus still says you're her favorite wrestler and the best wrestling champion. And he's only getting started as the one fall wrestling champ. We're not even a week. It feels like it's been an eternity, Brady, since Friday night, but yet it still hasn't been that long either. It's a weird feeling.
It was like the kind of, I was so used to doing these, in the back shows, these back bar shows, you're stretching somewhere where you think you might want to have a beer, getting ready for these matches, and then to be able to get to center stage and, those few dark matches at AEW, that TV feel, that butterflies in your tummy, that little bit of gag, that cough gag, that holy fuck, let's go do it, man. That's what I live for. That's why I do it. I want my hair on the back of my neck to stand up. I want every step I make to be pressure. I don't know why I want it that way, man, but I love it that way. And if my heart's not beating through my chest, I'm not having a good time. So I want my blood pressure raised. I want to have an exciting moment, and that's what center stage was, man. And huge thank you to QT for putting that on for us and, giving me the opportunity to do what we did.
Right. Well, we know there's plenty of One Fall shows. So if you aren't already, please be following One Fall Wrestling on all their social media platforms. There's been a lot of content going up the past couple months. There's a lot more content still to be posted, so it will continue. Brady, is there anything else you would like to touch on while we have you here?
I mean, just want to say thank you for this interview and just thank you to the Brodies for supporting your boy, because I wouldn't be in this position without the Brodies. That's all that really matters at the end of the day. Is if the Brodies are on your side, it doesn't really matter what anybody else says. So as long as you guys keep supporting me, I'll be able to keep doing this awesome job, and I'll keep going out there having fun with you. So hope to see you at the next One Fall show, and let's go Brodies,
Right. KO says he last wrestled at One Fall back in 2019. Well, KO, George is not too far from you. Let's make it happen, KO.
Listen, I don't know what KO's doing with all these dopping in on. He's saying he knows Nasty Man. Maybe he's trying to get booked. KO, I live at 218, Adam Circle. We can do it in the front yard, dog. I don't need to wait for a show. I'm a fun guy like that. I'll buy you a beer after I pin you. No big deal, big brother. Yeah,
Well, there's definitely a lot of opportunities for a lot of great matches. Brady, where can people follow you at?
Okay, so I think I can remember this off cuff. I think it's at Brady Booker _. Ever since I changed it, after that, I can't remember where I put the underscore, because there's always another Brady Booker out there. Humbling, but at Brady Booker _ for Twitter and Instagram. And then I don't do much on there. I don't even think I follow anybody. I've never even liked a video. I've never even scrolled through it, but I'll sometimes use TikTok to make a video, and then I might post it on my Instagram or something like that. So TikTok, I think, is at Brady _Booker or Brady Book. You'll find it, Brody. You know what I mean? We got a similar picture for all of them, but the Instagram is probably where I'm most active. And then Twitter, we need to get more active. Twitter's just there's, you never know what you're going to see opening up that app, when it's with no, what am I trying to say? No
filters, no
filters. You can put anything you want. You can see anything on there. And I sometimes tend to get my news and then kind of piece news together and then just kind of get out of there.
Yeah. Mosh pit says toxic as fuck.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you know what I mean? Instagram's toxic too with that algorithm. When they be putting stuff in your face from all the sweets in the world that you can't have to all the other, sinful things. Yes. But at least it's a photo. I don't have to read an excerpt with words that I've never wanted to hear in my life or see some video, so although I'm a Brody and man, I can get a little haywire. We need a little structure, Brody. Although I thrive in chaos just a little. It's good. Right. It's good for the soul,
Right. Let you control the structure, not Twitter or let you control chaos, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's just some words I just feel like I don't want to read on a daily basis,
I absolutely agree. KO says, let's do it at a Midtown pool, open bar, rooftop bar, some type of bar. Well, we are at a brewery on Friday, KO. So he's South Main Brewing in Watkinsville.
He's speaking my language, dog. Right. See, he knows just how to get to me. Smart man. Smart man. Brody's always up for a good time.
Good marketing, KO. Well, for us here on Toned In Entertainment, we'll be dropping some more interviews on the channel this week. We will be in Watkinsville on Friday. We'll be at the TV taping next Thursday as well, too. Also, there's a show with Back to School with Jeff Jarrett. We'll be at that one as well, too. And as for our next podcast, well, we've got another big guest next Wednesday. It'll be her 4th time on the channel. She is dropping an album tomorrow. Yes, Layla Gray will be joining me here on Toned In Entertainment on next Wednesday. So I'm super stoked to talk about all the cool stuff she's been doing in AEW and ROH and albums and everything else she's been doing from OVW to out in New Japan. It's been a lot. So we got a lot to talk about next Wednesday here on Toned In Entertainment.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, Brady,
talented people, Brodies. You know what I mean?
That's what we
Making
do.
albums. Like she's wrestling at all these different promotions and making an album. I got to say, that's a couple claps for her, Brody. That's some hard work.
that is.
I don't think I could write a paragraph, let alone a song, let alone an album, brother.
People are thanking us for the great interview, but no, thank you guys for watching. We do appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching all the clips and all the videos and all the interviews and everything else we put in your face on Instagram on a daily basis. We really do appreciate it. We're glad that all of you are along for the ride. Brady, I will see you on Friday, my friend, I'm guessing it would be your first title defense. I don't know anything about the booking. Who knows what you're getting thrown into? You just got to show up to the venue and find out on Friday.
I just show up and I whoop on some butt, Brody.
Excellent. Well, Brady, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, Tony. This was a blast.
And guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that red subscribe button so you can stay tuned in here to Toned In Entertainment for future videos.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.